Welcome to a chilling confrontation of undead power. Today witness a haunting clash between the Grand Court of Hallowmourne, under the mad reign of King Ushoran, and the relentless, monstrous menagerie of Gristlegore, which is accompanied by the cunning vampire, Lord Manfred von Carstein. In this macabre duel within the Flesh-Eater courts, madness and ambition collide, as these unholy forces vie for supremacy over the realm of death itself. The Gristlegore army is fielding 4 large monsters with 3 zombie dragons that can return to the field once slain and Manfred von Carstein on his mount. The mobility advantage in this matchup is clear. The plan is that 2 dragons can deep strike, and with the right spell, they can get near guaranteed charge on their chosen victim. Add to that the actually guarantee of a charge on the teleporting Graveguard, and the long-range movement of Manfred himself should enable this army to pick the fights it wants to fight. The Mad King takes to the field. With a tried and tested retinue of serfs and knights, his court takes on the next test. Will the resilience of his army prevail again against the monstrous enemies of a rival court? Scores of crypt ghouls, horrors and Morpeg knights will do their best to protect their king's honour. The battle plan is power flux, where the player going second in each round determines if the vertical or horizontal objectives are active. Both armies use rousing oration to add noble deed points for Ushoran and the Archregent respectively. The Archregent also casts Mystic Shield from way back on the Regent on Zombie Dragon to score the battle tactic. The Courtier prays for the improved ward save for the Regent as well. In the movement phase, the ghouls screen out the central objective while Manfred relocates to the centre of the board. This very easy turn scores the maximum 3 victory points for Gristlegore. Taking the easy opening as well, Hallowmourne aims to achieve magical dominance this turn. Further noble deed points are added with rousing oration again on both sides. The Hallowmourne Archregent is also hugging the own board edge and casts Mystic Shield on Ushoran as well as Hoarfrost on a unit of Crypt Horrors. Ushoran's additional delusion this turn is to gain extra armor saves for units on objectives. Ushoran's castle formation remains very secure in the movement phase, going forward with the screens just a bit, being very aware of the teleporting Graveguard as well as the 2 zombie dragons that are hovering in the sky. Hallowmourne scores 3 points this turn. Gristlegore decides to leave the vertical objectives activated. The Courtier prays for improved ward save on the horrors. The Archregent casts Mystic Shield on the Mad King. Other spells either fail or are unbound. During movement, the castle closes back up to really ensure there is no exposed flank, and especially the heroes stay safe in the middle. Hallowmourne scores another 3 points, aiming to wait out the Gristlegore who have less viable battle tactics available to their army due to the inclusion of the Regiment of Renown, so they have to come and pick a fight eventually. Mystic Shield proves to be the most popular spell, as it is cast again, while everything else is unbound. But on the last cast, the Ether Void Pendulum is sent forward by Manfred. The fell bats on both sides of the field easily secure surround and destroy as the battle tactic. The ghouls feel especially brave today and push further forward while the monsters spread out, and the Archregent leaves his charnel throne to be able to get into a better position for a potential cast of Merciless Blizzard in later turns. Hallowmourne wins the initiative but gives the turn away. Feeling confident in their castle, Ushoran keeps the vertical objectives active. As it is, turn 3 Gristlegore has to act, as the zombie dragons have to deploy this turn from reserves. The big question is how heavily they are willing to commit. Hallowmourne fails to dispel the pendulum. Mystic Shield is cast again on the Regent on Dragon. Carrion Call is cast successfully as well, which will allow the landing zombie dragons to move. Manfred casts the Wind of Death into the tightly packed castle, which affects most of the army and deals mortal wounds across the board. The Regent casts Flaming Weapon. The Pendulum affects the Horrors and the King, but deals no wounds to either. Seeing as they could deal damage with magic already and got the shooting phase coming up, Gristlegore decides to go all in this turn. The Graveguard teleport forward. The Archregent moves to the right flank and triggers the Crypt Guard to redeploy. The Fell Bats close in from both flanks. The zombie dragons land, but due to their very large bases, they have to land a bit further back than they would like to. In shooting, the dragons target Ushoran, but deal only 3 wounds in total to him. The plan was that after magic and shooting, he would be severely wounded. In this situation, the Graveguard have to work very hard to take him out after all. The Regent and 1 dragon charge the Crypt Horrors. The Fell Bats on the right tag the Crypt Guard. Ushoran stomps the Graveguard. Due to being in Gristlegore, the Regent on Dragon fights first, but manages to take out only a single Horror. The Graveguard go next and deal 3 wounds to the Mad King, leaving him basically unharmed. The Crypt Horrors retaliate and deal 4 damage to the green zombie dragon, who fights back and takes down 2 Horrors. The ghouls and other Horrors pile into the Graveguard and take them out. The Fell Bats take down 7 Crypt Guard. Ushoran deals 3 damage to the green dragon. The Vargulf piles in and kills the undead monster. The Crypt Guard and the Morpeg Knights take out the Fell Bats. Gristlegore scores 3 victory points, but their gambit to take out Ushoran as well as blunting 1 hammer does not work out. The Hallowmourne castle holds strong. Ushoran changes his delusion to give an extra inch to charge rolls. Archregent attempts to dispel the pendulum, but fails for the 3rd time. Deranged transformation is unbound, but Hoarfrost is cast on the left Horror unit. The pendulum deals 4 damage to the Vargulf and 2 to the Mortarch. In the movement phase, the ghouls advance towards the Fell Bats, and the Crypt Guard make space on the other flank. The Morpeg Knights set up for a charge on the Regent on Dragon, while the buffed Crypt Horrors head down the centre of the field. At the end of the phase, the decimated Horror unit is healed back up to full with Noble Deed points. The Crypt Guard returns to full strength as well. Combat is short but bloody. Both dragons fall to the Delusional Knights while the Vargulf decimates the ghouls. Hallowmourne scores 3 victory points this turn. With Manfred suddenly feeling very lonely with all other monsters around him, even more dead than when they began the game, Gristlegore sees no way back into the game and concedes. After 2 turns of careful waiting for the right opportunity, the castle wins out by waiting long enough to force the monster army's hand. It is a good example how a well-positioned defence can weather a storm. Gristlegore just did not have the offensive power for such a headlong charge that they were forced into. Sitting back in turn 3 and trying to spread out their enemy more into turn 4 might have been the better choice overall. Hallowmourne wins the game. Thank you for watching the Realm Wars Network.